I've been expecting you.
Welcome back to the most peaceful and most profitable adventure in Azeroth. I'm continuing my journey to level 90 as a complete pacifist in Mists of Pandaria Classic. And today's episode is going to be different. We're not just leveling anymore, we're turning our peaceful gathering operation into a serious gold-making enterprise. Last episode we discovered the magical town of Ambermill, where nodes could be harvested multiple times, catapulting us from level 16 to 31, whilst earning over 1500 gold. But here's the thing, I realised we've been leaving money on the table by not optimising our routes for maximum profit. Today I'm going to test 5 different zones to find out the absolute best gold per hour farming spots for mid-level characters, complete with a breakdown of earnings, efficiency and enjoyment. By the end of this episode you'll have a complete gold making guide that could save you dozens of hours of testing because I've already done the legwork for you. We're picking up exactly where we left off, departing the magical fields of Ambermill in Silverpine Forest and heading towards our next destination, Hillsbrad Foothills. But first, we made a crucial stop in Undercity to pick up Archaeology, our third gathering profession and another potential source of experience and profit. The journey east to Hillsbrad presented our first opportunity to test this new profession. Lucky for us, there was an archaeology dig site right in the zone. So I temporarily set aside the herb gathering to try my hand at some legitimate treasure hunting. Here's where travel form proved its worth once again. We can use the survey ability without losing our shapeshift. This makes archaeology significantly more efficient than for other classes who have to constantly mount and dismount. For those unfamiliar with the profession, the surveyor equipment gives you directional guidance with a telescope that points towards artifact fragments, while the light indicator changes from red to yellow to green based on proximity. But here's a pro tip that many players don't know, the speed of the light's pulse is a secondary distance indicator. A rapidly pulsing green light means you're only a few feet away from your target, while a slow pulse means you're further away. Each successful dig netted around 1400 experience, equivalent to about 6 herb gathers. Given the time it takes to locate fragments and the distance between dig sites, archaeology is a lot less efficient than pure herb and ore gathering for experience. However, it adds variety to our routine and provides a nice change of pace. I'll treat it as an opportunistic profession. If there's a dig site in an area where we're already farming, we'll take a break to explore it, but it's not going to form a major part of our leveling strategy. While we're discussing secondary professions, I need to address something that's been bothering me: fishing and cooking. I picked up both professions while training archaeology in Undercity, but I've never actually cast my fishing rod, and here's why. It occurred to me that fishing might violate our pacifist principles. Are we not harming creatures by yanking them out of their natural habitat and then cooking them? This creates an interesting ethical dilemma for our challenge. I've decided to maintain strict pacifist ideals and avoid traditional cooking and fishing that involves animal products. But here's something that might be interesting. I wonder if it's possible to level cooking to maximum using only pacifist-friendly recipes. There are numerous baking recipes, such as spice bread at level 1. And with careful planning, this could be an intriguing sub-challenge. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing me attempt a pacifist cooking profession alongside our main challenge. Both cooking and fishing offer daily quests that provide decent experience and useful items, and since quests are available to us as an experience source, I might pick up the occasional daily as long as it aligns with our pacifist rules and I happen to be in the area anyway. Now, let's talk about the main event: systematic gold optimization. Up until this point, we've been accumulating materials and selling them on the auction house as a byproduct of our leveling process. It's been profitable but hardly optimized. We've been prioritizing experience gains over gold making, but I think there's a way to excel at both simultaneously. As I explored Hillsbrad Foothills, I noticed the node density was disappointing. lower than expected and mostly the same resources we'd been farming at Ambermill. If I wanted Mage Royale and Tin Ore, I might as well return to the magical town where the nodes respawn multiple times. This revelation led me to a crucial decision. It was time to find the optimal farming zones for a level 31 character. Looking at the world map, 5 zones stood out as potential candidates: Arathi Highlands, Hinterlands, the Cape of Stranglethorn, Southern Barrens, and Desolus. Since I'm committed to avoiding online guides to keep this challenge authentic, there was only one way to determine which of these zones would prove most lucrative. I'd have to test each one personally and create a comprehensive comparison of the gold per hour potential. And that's exactly what I did. I spent hours methodically farming each zone, perfecting my routes, calculating materials gathered and tracking auction house values, all so that you can benefit from this data without having to spend your own time on exhaustive field research. For this experiment, I'm not just looking at raw gold per hour numbers, we're going to be evaluating some key criteria. Gold per hour is obviously what we're going to be looking at, the raw earning potential based on materials gathered and the current auction house prices. I also want to look at route efficiency, how intuitive and optimised the gathering routes are within each zone, and of course enjoyment factor, because gold farming should be fun, not a chore. If you enjoy the farming process, then you're getting double value, entertainment plus profit. With that in mind, let's dive into the results. Arathi Highlands provided a strong baseline for our comparison. While the zone contains plenty of hostile mobs, they're well spaced out, allowing for relatively safe navigation between resource nodes. The herb and ore distribution throughout the zone is excellent, providing consistent gathering opportunities without excessive downtime. After optimising my route through several test runs, I achieved a reliable 544 gold per hour, an impressive jump from our previous 300 gold per hour at Ambermill. This increase is primarily due to the higher level, scarcer materials that command premium prices on the auction house. The route felt solid and dependable, but not particularly exciting. Arathi is going to earn a respectable spot on our leaderboard as a consistent, if unremarkable, farming location. Next we went to Hinterlands, and Hinterlands presented a different challenge. There were higher density of both mobs and nodes, creating a risk versus reward scenario. Initially, I was getting dazed constantly while navigating between resources, but after a couple of complete zone circuits, I identified the most dangerous areas and optimised a route that maximised gathering whilst minimising mob encounters. The refined Hinterlands route yielded 570 gold per hour, not substantially better than Arathi Highlands. Whilst the node density is appealing, the constant need for careful navigation and less intuitive pathing made it feel more stressful than profitable. So between Arathi and Hinterlands, I actually preferred Arathi's layout and ease of navigation. Hinterlands takes the number 2 spot for now, but it's not a strong second. The Cape of Stranglethorn was a revelation. Even without looking at any external guides, the optimal farming route was immediately obvious. Follow the main road, explore each open area branching off to either side, run down the coastline and repeat. The simplicity was beautiful. The mobs are easily avoidable, the scenery is gorgeous and varied, and you barely need to check your map once you understand the basic pattern. It's an incredibly intuitive and relaxing farming experience. But the real kicker? We were pulling in a massive 730 gold per hour, roughly 30% more than Hinterlands, and significantly more enjoyable. The combination of high efficiency and maximum enjoyment makes Cape of Stranglethorn an absolutely no-brainer for the current top spot on our leaderboard. Next up, Southern Barrens. Now, Southern Barrens looked promising in theory. Like Stranglethorn, it features a main road running through the centre of the zone, suggesting a similar efficient farming pattern. Unfortunately, theory and reality didn't align. The nodes are spread out with no coherent gathering pattern. Instead of systematic side-to-side harvesting, you end up grabbing random resources from the middle of the zone and the scattered alcoves. Once you've cleared the available nodes, you face long stretches of running with nothing to gather whilst waiting for respawns. The numbers reflected this inefficiency, a mere 440 gold per hour, making Southern Barrens dead last in both profitability and enjoyment. This zone is not worth your time for farming purposes. Desolace was my nostalgic revisit. I hadn't explored this zone since Classic, so there was a pleasant familiarity in returning. However, the zone has changed since Cataclysm, and nostalgia can only carry you so far when you're staring at an endless flat desert with just the occasional patch of greenery. The lack of scenic variety makes for monotonous farming, but the fundamentals are solid. Node density is excellent, hostile mobs are sparse, and the navigation is straightforward. It's objectively good for farming, just not particularly engaging visually, at least for me. The numbers don't lie though. Desolace delivered 740 gold per hour in raw materials, making it the most lucrative zone tested. However, given the choice between slightly lower income and significantly more enjoyable gameplay, I'd still recommend Cape of Stranglethorn over Desolace for most players. Desolace is going to earn second place on our final leaderboard. Great for pure profit maximisation, but Stranglethorn wins for the overall experience. So here's the takeaway. If you're levelling from 30 to 40 in Mists of Pandaria Classic and want to maximise your income, spend your time in the Cape of Stranglethorn. The math works out beautifully. It takes roughly 8 to 10 hours to level from 30 to 40 through gathering, and you'll accumulate 6,000 to 8,000 gold's worth of raw material in the process. That's not just efficient levelling, that's setting yourself up with some serious capital for bags, enchants and future expansion content. For players who prioritise pure profit over enjoyment, Desolace offers the highest gold per hour rate, but I genuinely believe the slight income difference isn't worth the visual monotony. As we approach level 39, I noticed the familiar pattern of diminishing experience returns from our current resource tier. It's time to push north towards the eastern and western plague lands, which have maintained their reputation as excellent farming zones across all expansions. I'm also reconsidering our profession balance. Mining has become increasingly problematic. Whilst we can harvest herbs quickly enough to avoid most interruptions, mining nodes seem to attract mobs consistently, and the longer gather times means we're frequently interrupted mid-action. I'm considering switching to a pure herbalism focus in upcoming episodes to test whether this specialisation improves our efficiency. This decision becomes even more appealing when I consider our next major milestone, Flight Form. At level 58 we'll unlock Flight Form, which will revolutionise everything. The speed increase will be drastic, but more importantly, we'll eliminate the constant dazed effect from ground mobs and be able to drop directly onto nodes without attracting attention. The aerial advantage might make mining viable again, but until then I think herbs might be a more practical focus. The beauty of our current setup is how our gathering professions complement each other. Herbalism provides consistent experience and steady income. Archaeology adds variety and decent experience chunks when dig sites happen to align with our farming routes. Even our currently unused fishing and cooking skills represent potential future content if we can develop creative pacifist applications. As we approach higher level zones with more valuable resources, our income potential will continue scaling upward. The foundation we're building now, with optimised routes, market knowledge and efficient gathering techniques, is going to serve us through the entire 1 to 90 journey. I'm curious about your own farming experience. Have you tested different zones for profitability, and do you prioritise gold per hour over enjoyment, or do you factor in the fun factor like I do? Let me know in the comments what your favourite farming zones are and whether my analysis matches your own experience. Also, I'm still considering that pacifist cooking challenge, levelling the profession using only meat-free recipes. and if enough people express interest, I'll add it as a sub-goal for upcoming episodes. For now, that's 39 levels down, 51 to go. Thanks for joining us in another step in our peaceful revolution. Whether you're inspired to try your own pacifist challenge, optimise your own farming routes, or simply enjoying watching someone else tackle WoW from a completely different angle, your support makes this journey possible. See you in the next one, where we'll test the Plague Lands and inch ever closer to flight form. Until then, may your herbs be plentiful and your auction house sales profitable. Go with peace, friend.